Hi, and welcome to Iconic Rides.
We've all sat and dreamt about a dream car that we'd one day like to own.
But how many of us actually get to do it?
The one thing that usually gets in the way is the price of the dream car.
But what if that car didn't break the bank?
We started to think which cars were on most people's dream car list.
And one of the marks on most people's list would be the Porsche.
But with the older air-cooled versions prices going up all the time, we started to think more about the modern water-cooled versions.
So we sat down, searched the internet, and the one that jumped out was the Porsche Boxster.
The Boxster first appeared in 1996 and was fitted with a mid-engine 2.5 litre flat six, which was increased to 2.7, and in 2002 it also received a facelift to the body styling. An S version was also available with a larger 3.2 litre engine. The Boxster is now into its fourth generation and is still going strong. During our search, we realised that there are many out there on the market, but we set our budget at £5,000 and wanted to find a low mileage 2.7 litre version, preferably in black, with larger alloy wheels and as much Porsche service history as we could find.
We came across this 2002 model with just over 70,000 miles on the clock with a full service history.
We picked this one up for just under our budget, and it also comes with the desirable hardtop.
But as always, you can only tell how good a car is if you take it out on the road.
The first thing that strikes you about this car is the sturdiness of it. German engineering.
Sound of that engine, Olivia.
It sounds amazing, doesn't it?
Wow.
Oh, God,
so
it's
lucky.
gorgeous. Oh God, it feels so good. The grip on it's nice. The way it turns corners is lovely. It feels so stuck to the ground.
I can tell how responsive it is on the brakes as well, and that accelerator just wants to go.
It really does. That grip was amazing around that bend. It feels so good. Do people realise how much car you can get for your money?
I can't believe this is £5,000. I mean, it's a total bargain for anybody that wants to buy a car, not spend too much money, and just go and thrash it through the country roads.
Exactly. On a gorgeous day like today, I couldn't think of anything better to be doing. As for running costs, a 12,000 mile service at an independent will cost you around just £300. Not bad, eh?
Fantastic.
It's also quite practical as well. It has two boots because of its mid-engine, one at the front and a smaller one at the back. Make sure that you have good branded tyres on a car like this. You don't want cheap tyres.
So sexy, that noise, that gravelly engine noise when you pull away.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
Husky roar to it. It's just a really nice, comfortable drive as well.
It just holds the corners really well. You know, I like the way that, you know, when you pull away, it gives you that throttle. It just wants to go. I suppose you have to be really, really careful as well when you're pulling away in this car, because you can feel it wants to go.
Oh, it does. It's definitely a whiplash claim in the making. The only other option for this type of car is the early Audi TTs, and I don't think they've aged quite as well as the Boxster.
For a car like this, 2 owners, £5,000, it's absolutely fantastic bargain. Who wouldn't want to drive this?
Exactly, it looks gorgeous on the outside, and on the inside it's tidy as well. It's quite modern, wouldn't you say?
And put your foot down, Olivia, go for it.
If Porsche is your dream car, there's no better place to start ownership than with this Boxster. It ticks all the boxes. Why wouldn't you buy one of these? Is this just a summer car? I don't think so. You could use this car every day. Wow, wow, it feels so good to drive.
Fantastic.
So responsive. Are you jealous you're not driving it?
It's so nice. Olivia, I am a little bit jealous I'm not driving it, but I'm sure I get a go later on.
I'm sure you will. You're going to absolutely love it when you get to drive it. It's so nice.
Oh, sure I will.
This one comes with the optional hardtop, which when new was really expensive, but very practical, especially with our British winters.
I'm so lucky to be able to drive this car. I'm tempted to buy one myself, you know.
Really?
£5,000.
For £5,000, it's a bargain. Why would you not?
I know. I'd be the envy of all my friends, I think.
When you think of Porsche, you always think of it being so much more expensive. But a car like this, for £5,000, is an absolute bargain. What else could you get for your money for £5,000 that's anything to the standards of this?
Exactly. I don't know any cars out there of this calibre you can buy for £5,000. A Porsche, 5,000, absolutely amazing.
Absolute bargain, really is. As you've probably worked out by now, both Kerry and I are huge Porsche fans. The first thing I have to say is I can't believe you can get so much car for your money.
You would never believe this car's 18 years old. It's a bargain of the decade.
There are so many cars like this on the market, but as you know, don't always buy the first car that you see. Always look for additional wear and tear.
And these cars are tough, but make sure you buy a Porsche with as much service history as possible.
The good news is there are now many good independent Porsche service centres, so you don't have to pay Porsche prices to keep your car running sweet for many years to come.
Are these cars going to be a classic? Perhaps not yet. There's just far too many of them out there. And they were too well built to rust away like other potential classics.
So if you can find a nice one like this, I'd say it's a keeper and see what happens in the future.
All we have to do now is decide who drives home. Olivia, heads or tails?
Tails.
Heads.
During this programme we've seen some lovely cars, but today, something different. Hi, John.
Nice to meet you.
How are you? You okay?
Very well, yourself?
Hi, John.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
This is a 1940 de Havilland Tiger Moth, and this one is owned by Mr. John Kay.
The Tiger Moth was designed back in the 30s, in fact, by Geoffrey de Havilland, and it was really designed as a touring aeroplane for the upper middle classes. And then the RAF needed a trainer to replace the Avro 504. So Geoffrey decided to enter the Tiger Moth for that competition, to win the competition for the RAF trainer. Initially the RAF didn't like the design because the wings on it were straight, and the pilot couldn't get in with a parachute, the instructor. So the RAF said, well, they weren't very happy. So Geoffrey took it back to the factory, moved the wings forward, the centre section forward, and then gave a slight dihedral on the wings in order to maintain the centre of gravity. Re-entered it for the competition, and in fact it won and became for 1936 was the main trainer for the Royal Air Force. Before you fly, there's a daily check. You must make sure that everything is airworthy. Prop is on and secure, obviously. And then I will check the oil. Make sure that she's got sufficient oil in the engine. Checking, just have about an inch over halfway, which looks good. No leaks, everything secure, no rents or tears, flying and landing wires secure, interplane struts firm, no damage to the fabric. Just to make sure that I've got full and free movement on the Elroyns and the elevator. Everything looks good. I think I'd say that she's ready for flight. The aircraft was actually built in 1940 and it went into service with the RAF. I believe, I don't have the logbooks unfortunately for it, but I think it was at Kidlington at the RAF main training command for RAF pilots. Its squadron number is 14, which I have on the aeroplane. And the service number was Tango 7290, which again is on the aircraft. I had permission from the Royal Air Force to put it back in its RAF markings. I've owned the aircraft from 2012. As I said, it was put into storage. I then decided that I wanted to maybe fly it, and I said to the previous owner, what's the chances? And he said, well, if you want to put it together, you're welcome to fly it. So we started to put it together, and over a number of years, it's taken quite a period of time to put it back together. But then 2012, it received its airworthiness certificate and has been flying ever since. Just looking at the air map here, just to see if there's any areas that I shouldn't fly over. And of course, there's lots of, through Lincolnshire and East Anglia, a lot of American and British air bases here which need to be avoided. So just check the route and the timing, and make sure that there are no major obstructions that I need to be aware of before I set off. It's open cockpit and it's tail dragger, so obviously it's weather dependent. You don't really want to be flying it in the rain or snow. And of course the other thing is, being a tail dragger, you've got to be aware that, tail draggers don't like crosswinds. It was designed in a period, of course, where airfields were round. So, you depending on the windsock, you actually took off and landed into wind, whereas now most of the runways are fixed areas. So, you've got to be aware that if you've got a strong crosswind, it's better to keep it in the hangar. My father flew during the war from RAF Northolt, and they all had that badge on their aircraft. That is a Polish checker. I got permission from the Air Ambassador of Poland to put it back on. My father flew Spitfires, but unfortunately my budget won't stretch to a Spitfire, so I settled for the Tiger Moth. He flew with 306 and 308 Squadron, and in fact he would have been, had he survived, he would have been one of the first squadrons after D-Day back into Normandy. He joined the 131 wing and they moved down to a place called Chainley in Sussex. It was 302 Squadron, 317 and 308 Squadron. And unfortunately he was killed 2 weeks before D-Day. Well, Colin and Kerry, who I was pleased to fly both today, it's interesting. You can see straight away with a passenger whether they're actually going to enjoy it or not. Flying is not everybody's cup of tea. You have to understand that. And so I try and keep the turns as gentle as possible. It was a little bit windy initially for Colin going over the trees. You get a bit of turbulence there, but he didn't seem in the slightest concern with that. So we just carried on, and I think he enjoyed it. And Kerry, it's interesting that people say they're a bit worried and they don't want to fly, but actually once they've gone up and got the experience, I think she felt that had I carried on for another half an hour, that would have been totally acceptable.
Massive thanks to John for an amazing experience in an amazing aircraft.
And I hope you'll join us again to look at some more great cars and perhaps a few more surprises.